Rain lashed down, each drop exploding in the grimy puddles of the alleyway. A lone street lamp flickered, casting grotesque shadows that danced around the figures. The girl, barely out of her teens, stood protectively in front of an elderly man, her slight frame a stark contrast to the hulking silhouette that blocked their exit. "Get out of my way, girl," the man sneered, his voice a gravelly rumble that echoed in the narrow space. "This doesn't concern you." He cracked his knuckles, a deliberate show of intimidation. The girl didn't flinch. "Leave him alone," she retorted, her voice surprisingly firm despite the tremor running through her. She knew the dangers of this city, especially in such desolate corners. But fear was a luxury she couldn't afford, not when the old man behind her, frail and trembling, represented everything she held dear. He was a symbol of resilience, of hope, of everything she was fighting to protect. The rain intensified, mirroring the tension that crackled in the air. The larger man laughed, a humorless, chilling sound. "You think you can stop me?" he scoffed, taking a menacing step closer. "You're just a kid." He gestured dismissively with his hand, his shadow looming larger, more menacing. The girl tightened her grip on the small, worn leather pouch strapped across her chest. It held her meager belongings, but more importantly, it was a reminder of the promise she had made, to protect him no matter the cost. The alley reeked of dampness and decay, a fitting backdrop for the confrontation. The girl knew she couldn't win in a direct fight. She had to be smart, had to use the environment to her advantage. She scanned their surroundings, her eyes adjusting to the gloom, searching for that one element, that one chance that could tip the scales in their favor. The alley was a dead end, the brick walls slick with rain, offering no escape. The girl felt a surge of despair. She was trapped, her back literally against the wall, with only the faint hope that someone might hear their struggle over the roar of the storm. She glanced at the old man behind her. He seemed oblivious to the imminent danger, his gaze lost in the downpour. "Run!" she suddenly yelled, shoving the old man with all her might, hoping to create a distraction, a sliver of a chance. He stumbled back, startled by her sudden outburst, his confusion giving her precious seconds. As the larger man turned, momentarily distracted, the girl saw her opportunity. She lunged, her target not his face or chest, but the muddy puddle at his feet. She kicked out, sending a spray of dirty water into his face. He roared in anger and surprise, momentarily blinded. It was the opening she needed. Years spent navigating the city's underbelly had taught her to be quick, to be resourceful, to turn any situation to her advantage. Now those instincts took over. "Go, go, go," she screamed at the old man, her voice raw with urgency. He hesitated, his eyes wide with fear and confusion, but the girl's fierce determination finally penetrated his daze. He turned and stumbled towards the alley's entrance, his steps slow but steady. The girl felt a surge of relief, but it was short-lived. The larger man had recovered and was now bearing down on her, his eyes blazing with fury. He charged, a human battering ram fueled by rage and the sting of humiliation. The girl knew she couldn't match his brute strength. She had to rely on speed, agility, and the element of surprise. She ducked under his flailing arm, feeling the wind of his fist whoosh past her ear. Up close, his size was even more intimidating, but she couldn't let fear paralyze her. She weaved and bobbed, her movements fluid, almost dance-like, as she anticipated his attacks and slipped past them. The narrow confines of the alley, a disadvantage moments ago, now worked in her favor, limiting his movements. She used the slick cobblestones to her advantage, her steps light and sure while he struggled to maintain his balance. She caught his eye, a brief flicker of surprise in their depths. He hadn't expected this, hadn't anticipated her resilience, but it was there, etched in the determined set of her jaw, in the fire that burned in her eyes. She wouldn't be an easy target, she would make him fight for every inch. He lunged again, this time grabbing for her. She twisted away, his fingers brushing against her sleeve, close, too close. Adrenaline surged through her veins, sharpening her senses, making her movements almost a blur. She had to end this, and fast. Memories flashed before her eyes, her father, his kind face etched with worry, teaching her self-defense, telling her that knowledge was power, especially for a girl in their world. He had been her protector, her teacher, her everything. And now she would honor his memory by protecting the other person who represented family. She ducked under another swing, feeling the air displace as his fist missed its mark. Anger fueled her movements, lending them a new ferocity. She wasn't just fighting for the old man, she was fighting for her father, for the memory of his love, for the values he had instilled in her. He came at her again, this time with a roar of frustration. He was tiring, his movements becoming sloppier, his frustration growing. This was her chance. She couldn't waste it. As he lunged, she sidestepped, using his own momentum against him. Her fist connected with his jaw, a satisfying crack that echoed in the silence that followed. He staggered back, stunned by the unexpected blow. She didn't hesitate. This was her moment, her chance to end this. She channeled all her fear, her anger, her desperation into one final powerful kick. It landed squarely in his chest, the force of it sending him crashing into the opposite wall. He lay there for a moment, groaning in pain, the fight seemingly knocked out of him. The girl stood over him, chest heaving, rain plastering her hair to her face. She was soaked to the bone, her muscles screaming in protest, but she had won. She had protected him. A wave of dizziness washed over her, the adrenaline receding, leaving behind a tremor of exhaustion. She swayed on her feet, her vision blurring. She had never fought like this before, never experienced the raw, primal surge of survival that had just coursed through her. She looked down at the man, his chest rising and falling in ragged breaths. He was down, but not out. She had to get them out of there, had to get to safety. She scanned the alleyway, her eyes falling on a discarded rusty pipe lying near the wall. It wasn't much, but it would have to do. Picking it up, she approached the man cautiously. He was stirring, trying to sit up, his eyes filled with pain and a grudging respect. "Don't even think about it," she warned, her voice hoarse but firm. He looked at the pipe, then back at her, a flicker of something akin to amusement crossing his features. "You're a feisty one," he rasped, his voice laced with pain. He coughed, spitting out a mouthful of blood. "But this isn't over." The girl met his gaze, her own unwavering. "It is for now," she countered, raising the pipe slightly, "and next time I won't hesitate." He chuckled, a dry, humorless sound, before slumping back against the wall. The rain had eased into a steady drizzle as the girl helped the old man out of the alley. He leaned heavily on her, his steps faltering but his eyes shining with gratitude. She had faced a monster in that rain-soaked alley and emerged victorious. She had stared down fear and emerged stronger. "Thank you, child," the old man whispered, his voice raspy but filled with warmth. "You saved my life." She smiled, a tired but genuine smile. "We take care of each other," she replied, her voice echoing the words her father had often spoken. The city stretched before them, its lights blurred by the receding rain. They walked on, two figures silhouetted against the dawning sky, their bond forged in the crucible of a shared ordeal. The girl knew that life in these streets was unpredictable, danger always lurking around the corner. But tonight, she had learned a valuable lesson. She had learned that courage wasn't the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. She had learned that even the smallest amongst them could rise to the occasion, could become a beacon of defiance, a testament to the enduring human spirit. And as she walked away from that alley, the echo of the fight fading into the rhythm of the city, she carried with her the quiet satisfaction of knowing that she had faced down a monster and won. The rain had stopped, and a new day was dawning. Subscribe for more like this.